Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, Senior Fellow at the Media Research Center. I'm kind of perplexed about some things that are happening. This past weekend, 5 young black children lost their lives in shootings in major urban population centers, mainly Chicago, but in other places. Some of us may have also seen the video of a little black girl walking with her dad. She was only 5 or 6 years of age. Someone pulls up and shoots him right before her very eyes. Think of the trauma that that young girl will have for the rest of her life. A black father, a dad, doing what was right, walking, holding his little girl's hand, only to be gunned down. Also, this past weekend, the statue of Frederick Douglass was pulled down in Rochester, New York. And here was a man who was a slave, a man who educated himself, a man who became one of the most influential figures in politics in his time, a black man. The reason why we have the Emancipation Proclamation, the reason why we have the first black unit that served in the United States military, the 54th Massachusetts Regiment. But yet this past weekend, his statue was torn down.
Now, if you take a look, you can actually see this is the base where that monument stood, the statue of Frederick Douglass. All that's left are these pieces of concrete after the statue was forced from its base in an act of vandalism.
And so I had to think about this. Where are the organizations supposedly that advocate for black rights and black issues? The NAACP, the National Association for Colored People, and also this group now called Black Lives Matter. Well, as of today, Black Lives Matter has said nothing about the shootings of those 5 little girls, not that I've seen. And as of today, the NAACP is, well, they're sitting down talking about hate speech with Mark Zuckerberg and how they are supporting the banning of ads on Facebook platforms. Nothing about the shootings that we have seen consistently over the last 3 to 4 weekends in these urban population centers. And so I began to ask, what is it about the NAACP and also the Black Lives Matter where I can see a consistency? And it hit me. See, a lot of people don't realize that the NAACP, National Association for Colored People, which was founded February of 1909, was not founded by blacks. It was founded by 4 white, liberal progressives. You can maybe even call them socialists, but they called themselves progressives at the time. Their names, Mary White Ovington, William English Walling, Henry Mouskowitz, and Oswald Garrison Villard. Now, they did put a gentleman by the name of W.E.B. Du Bois in charge of the NAACP. But one of the things that I found quite perplexing, Mr. Du Bois ended up becoming an avowed socialist, then a communist, and he even renounced his American citizenship. See, that's why my ideological mentor is Booker T. Washington. And also an example for me is Frederick Douglass. But obviously it's not for some since they ripped down his statue. But then think about Black Lives Matter, this new black advocacy group, they say. If you go to their website, if you look and understand who they are, well, 2 of their 3 leaders are avowed Marxists. They even said they're trained Marxists.
I think that the criticism is helpful. I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
So what does an organization led by trained Marxists, meaning Karl Marx, Frederick Engels, maybe a little Saul Alinsky thrown in there, what do they have to do with the issues that are facing the black community? Why don't we hear the NAACP and Black Lives Matter speak more about the black on black crime that we see happening all across the United States of America? To include, sadly, this past weekend in my own hometown of Atlanta, Georgia, where a little girl lost her life. See, these organizations founded by white, liberal, progressives, socialists, Marxists, communists. Has nothing to do with the issues facing the black community. As a matter of fact, they follow the doctrine, the principles, and the ideologies of individuals that are completely inconsistent with the principles and values of the black community. But for some odd reason, people are still duped. See, I think it is time for us to start focusing on what the real failures are in our inner city communities, such as that of the Great Society programs of Lyndon Baines Johnson. And funny thing, if this is all about history and racism and white supremacy and everything, then why aren't the NAACP and Black Lives Matter speaking out against Planned Parenthood, an organization founded by an avowed white supremacist or racist who spoke at Klan rallies? Her name is Margaret Sanger. Why don't we see any of these statues, monuments, or tributes to Robert Ku Klux Klan Byrd, who was a Democrat senator from West Virginia? He was a Grand Wizard of the Klan. But yet Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and others, to include Joe Biden, praised Senator Robert Byrd. Why didn't the NAACP or Black Lives Matter speak out and remind everyone that the longest filibuster in U.S. Senate history were the Senate Democrats filibustering against the 1964 Civil Rights Act? See, maybe that's why people want to destroy history, because they don't want the truth to be out. But that's why we're here. That's why we have the Media Research Center, to make sure we get the truth. And the truth about the NAACP and Black Lives Matter, they really don't care about the issues that are facing the black community today.